One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown, and welcome to One Question, where we highlight executive leaders in college athletics. I'm here at the 2018 NACDA Convention, and I'm joined by Markus Jennings. Markus is currently the Associate Athletics Director for External Affairs at Sacramento State. Greetings, Markus. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ty, and I appreciate being here.
Yes, sir. Now, you've been at Sacramento State for 4 years. You're over external. Your career in athletics took you from development to where you are now. You oversee a number of sports, football included.
Yes.
But your background was in the corporate world, working in finance and with numbers. Tell us how your background in corporate led you to development, and then from development to where you are now over external and leading people.
Okay. Well, starting back at the beginning, getting into the business of college athletics, I think my corporate background helped me tremendously, really when it came to understanding executives and senior level administrators in businesses. And so my job was in major gift fundraising. And so I had the mindset of, again, knowing some of the pressure points that some of our executives were going through in my corporate world. So when I'm asking for money, understanding how these guys really think. And so I also felt, you know what, in fundraising, you have to understand relationships and understand that people give to people. Regardless of how well you love your institution, people still give to people. And those skill sets, I think, transferred from my corporate side to getting in college athletics, especially on the fundraising piece.
So now when you started in development in college athletics, of course you mentioned that you did some volunteering.
Yes.
But with your first full-time job,
yes,
I would assume your background helped you to feel comfortable when you started developing relationships with potential donors, and then you had to make that initial gift request.
Right.
Tell me about that initial process of beginning in development.
And you hit a good point there. I think the biggest difference with fundraisers and probably everyone else in the athletic department is making the ask.
Right.
We all are fundraisers, we say in our department. I mean, we all build relationships. We all represent our institutions the best way we can. But that difference is, you'll hear some folks will tell you, man, I just can't make the ask. And so I think for me, mentally understanding, again, being in the finance world, always understanding, well, you know what? Only thing they can say is no. And my question all the time after a donor maybe says this isn't the right time, I ask them, does that mean not now or not never?
Right, yeah.
And many times it's not just not right now. It's a timing aspect of it. So now you go back to, like, I look at the student athlete experience for myself. It could be a game where you feel maybe defeated at times because you think you've done everything correctly, but you can't take anything personal. You know, these donors may have kids in college, grandkids in college, or whatever it may be, but you just have to maintain that relationship and again, show them that you're trying to do everything you can to help that institution be the best it could be. And so I really have enjoyed that piece of it. And I tell folks all the time, I can roll out of bed every day and build relationships because that's what I enjoy, and being with people.
Right. Well, that question you mentioned, not now or not ever, is probably a very crucial follow-up.
Yes.
When working with potential donors, because like you said, they may have their money tied up in something at the current moment, but maybe down the line they can contribute. That has probably helped you a lot throughout your time in fundraising.
That has, and that's one of the first lessons I try to teach all of the young fundraisers, because our fundraisers now, they all feel that, you know, we kind of want that microwave effect, that quick fix, and not understanding some folks, you know, may take you a couple years to get that gift, but that doesn't make that prospect any less valuable than that prospect who gave you a gift on the first visit. And so understanding this game is patience. And the people that you're dealing with, it's emotional as well. And so you have to be one that understands that, be able to read people. Again, I think another skill set that's very important for fundraisers is body language. When you get into a room, there's many times where I had the proposal in my folder ready to make, but never pulled it out because the body language of that conversation didn't allow, like, this isn't the time.
Right.
So you have to understand that.
Okay. So you worked in development and you made a couple of stops throughout your career, and then you get hired at Sacramento State.
Yes.
The athletic director at the time brings you in and puts you over external operations. Tell us about that transition from primarily in development, and now you're involved with marketing, with tickets, you're overseeing sports. Talk about that transition.
I really feel the corporate side has helped me there, because when it comes to revenue generation, you have to understand the big picture of what the organization is trying to get done. But more importantly, I keep coming back to the same theme here, is you have to understand the people in your organization. One of my management strategies that I've always taken into account, that I've learned a long time ago, is when you're managing people, if there's 5 people in the room right here, I'm not going to treat all 5 people the same. I'm going to treat all 5 people fairly, but they have different things going on in their lives.
Right.
We have some young folks who are very ambitious. We have some folks like me who have young kids at home that want to make sure they be the best mom and dad they can be. Mm-hmm. And you have some folks who are, maybe near the end of their careers and just want to do a good job.
Right.
And so I have to be very mindful of that when my young family says, hey, little Johnny had got hurt at school, I got to leave right now. Of course, please go right now. So I think when you treat people well and you empower people and you give them the tools to be successful, they're going to work that much harder for you. And so I think my first skill set was coming in and understanding people, managing the people, but then understanding the business. Whereas, again, in college athletics, no one's reinventing the wheel. We're all looking at our peers across the country and seeing what's working on their campuses and how we can incorporate on ours. So that's where building my network throughout the business, where I can pick up the phone anytime and call peers around the country and maybe seeing something they've done and ask how they did it, and we incorporate it in our institution.
Right. And then you introduce the aspect of sport oversight.
Yes.
Now that's different than raising money and dealing with potential donors. Now we're talking about a coach and his or her staff and all the student athletes in the respective sports. So you're actually evaluating now. Tell me about that transition.
Now the coaching oversight piece is one, I'll put this, everyone's not cut out for coach oversight.
Okay.
Because if you look at, there's a lot of coaches who have strong personalities, and there's some who don't. But one thing you have to respect about coaches is they're in their bubble, they're in their lane of trying to have the best program they can have. And so if I don't build a relationship of trust with those coaches, and that's everything from having them understand, hey, we want a culture of compliance, obviously trying to help them raise money, but then just give them the tools to be successful. Once they know you're there for that, I feel it's easy after that. Right. But again, you have some coaches that they challenge us as administrators. But I really like that, because that tells me, again, the competitive side, they want to be great. And so if they tell me, Marcus, we don't have this and XYZ peer institution has it, I have to really take a hard look at that. Because as we all know, recruiting is important, player development is important, leadership is important.
Right.
And me as an administrator, I have to give them the tools to be successful in doing those things.
Right. Well, my final question here, now recently you've been given football oversight, which is major. I just wonder about the evaluation process and how you are evaluated in development to being over external. Tell me how you're evaluated from your time in development, over external, over football, and how that compares to the corporate world in terms of how you were evaluated then and then how you're evaluated now in your current role.
So what's good about my role is I tell folks all the time, numbers don't lie, right? When you look at the fundraising piece, and even our ticketing piece,
right,
those numbers, the number is the number. So if we say every year we want to grow by X percent, at the end of the year, we have to look at that. So that's how we evaluate. You get to, on the coaching aspect, you know what? This is a results business. And so we look at our wins and losses, of course, but then you look at the direction of the program. Because there's many times you may need to make a change, a coaching change, and that has nothing to do with wins and losses. What is the culture that our AD and myself, we're trying to create in the department?
Okay.
And so there's a lot of factors on that coaching side. And you know what? We do a good job of, we call it that 360 feedback with our student athletes giving to our coaches as well. You know, we want our student athletes to talk about, you know, their road trips.
Okay,
you
so
know, their
feedback
meals,
from everybody, right?
Those type of things. Yes. And so that all goes into account of what we're trying to do. And again, coaches as well, we evaluate how they treat other staff members. So if you're the football coach, if you treat your facilities guy bad, that's not a good sign. You know, so again, what is the culture we're trying to build in an institution? So that all ties back to your question of what did I learn I was able to take from the corporate side was, you know, I use the phrase again, business is business. We have to be the best we can be all the time. And everyone on my staff, especially when you're external, I tell folks, you never take the brand off. Whether you're at I'll say I'm at my kid's soccer game, someone's coming to me telling me why we're not recruiting local kids. And I'm trying to enjoy my kid's soccer game or baseball game. So understanding that aspect, that you never take it off. So you have to enjoy it. And I love what I do, and I wouldn't do anything else.
Well, Marcus, it sounds like your career has progressed from volunteering while you were in the corporate world,
yes,
to actually working in the corporate world, to development, now external with sport oversight. And it seems like they trust you a lot there at Sacramento State. And I just want to thank you for joining us here on One Question.
I appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll see you down the line. But this has been great, and you know what, NACDA is always good. And again, for career development, people, if you're really serious about your careers, NACDA is where you need to go to sharpen those tools.
Excellent. That was Markus Jennings. He's the Associate Athletics Director for External Affairs at Sacramento State. And of course, this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.